Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We're really excited to collaborate today with Trifan Events and especially CEO and founder Anca. This is a second strategic session that she has facilitated for us, which we're really excited about. So thank you, Anca, for taking the time out of your busy day to share with us a little more of your expertise this topic, because I feel like it's so important to self-care, focus on yourself, and really, be in that space to focus and take care of ourselves. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, then how are we going to take care of the rest of the world? So thank you so much, Anca, on behalf of the Attica Women's Business Center, for taking the time to do this. And I will hand it over to you, and you can take over.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Vicky. It's definitely a great pleasure to have the opportunity to have this talk, because it's something that I'm definitely passionate. So welcome everyone to the importance of mental and physical fitness for women in business specifically, because this is something that I'm passionate about as a woman in business, but also someone that has walked through all the challenges that that entails when it comes to putting myself, my mental and physical fitness first. And what an appropriate topic, especially since May is the Mental Health Awareness Month. My name is Anca Trifan, owner of Trifan Events, a local to Treasure Valley boutique event production agency that produces, plans, and manages events all around the country. I'm also a podcast host, and the podcast that I host has a very specific focus on mental and physical fitness this season. And I'm also an advocate for female representation in male-dominated niches with a passion for mental and physical fitness, as you will hear as we continue this talk. Now, today, my focus is on providing you with practical strategies to overcome the unique challenges that us women in business encounter and the significant impact that some of those challenges have on our mental and physical well-being. We will explore common mental challenges experienced by women, including imposter syndrome, gender biases, discrimination, and the perennial struggle of work-life balance. Additionally, we will talk about the importance of building healthy habits mentally and physically, and cultivating a supporting network that will keep us accountable and assist us in maintaining our health and fitness amidst the high demands of running a business, fulfilling family-related responsibilities, pursuing personal goals, and even having, hobbies on the side, which are all great. And I just wanted to throw it out there. If you do need captions, there is a way to enable that in chat. I do speak with an accent, so I'm very much aware of that. And I'll also be moving quite fast, so I want to make sure that you get what I'm saying. And if you need subtitles for that, feel free to use that. With all of that being said, let's get us started. Now, the World Health Organization defines mental health as the state of well-being where individuals realize their potential, effectively cope with life stressors, work productively, and make meaningful contributions to their communities. Similarly, physical health refers to the body's ability to function properly and efficiently for as long as possible. As a multifaceted business owner, as I mentioned, podcast host, speaker, MC, and event producers who constantly juggles various roles, including training for a bodybuilding competition, all the while, raising small kids, sustaining a family, I can assure you that I have personally experienced so many challenges when it comes to staying fit, staying mentally healthy, and also, running a business. I've encountered biases as well, discrimination, microaggressions. I've dealt with imposter syndrome myself and struggle with this work-life balance, just like all of you have. These obstacles often have the power to hinder our progress and our potential. However, I have found that developing my own mental and physical fitness strategies have been instrumental in overcoming many of those challenges and improving my overall health and well-being. We often hear that the mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. This concept was demonstrated actually in a recent study involving basketball players. 3 groups were observed. One group practiced free throws for about an hour. Another group visualized the free throws for an hour. And the third group did a combination of both, practiced and visualization. Which group do you think performed the best? Surprisingly, it was the third group which outperformed the other group significantly. While many of us understand how to train our bodies, we often overlook the importance of training our minds. Our minds, just like our bodies, have unique strengths and weaknesses. Identifying these areas allows us to gain confidence in our own abilities and identify areas for improvement. Before we delve into challenges and actionable steps to overcome them, I'm eager to hear your thoughts on the topic, and I would love to have you put in the chat what have been some of the limitations that you've noticed in yourself or maybe other women around you, if you want to talk for a friend, that make it so hard to prioritize fitness and wellness. Feel free to put that in the chat as I continue. And again, this is a visual of the question if you're more of a visual person and would like to see the question instead of just hearing. Okay, now mental and physical health are very much interconnected, and neglecting one can certainly impact the other. That's why we need to look at both and prioritize them equally in order to build that necessary resilience to overcome some of the challenges that many of us face in life, business, and the workplace. Now, if you've never faced any of these challenges mentioned here, consider yourself lucky. The reality is most, if not all of us, have faced at least one of these challenges at one time or another. So let's dive into which one of those as they're listed on the slide. Gender bias, discrimination, imposter syndrome, intersectionality, balancing work, and personal responsibilities. Gender bias and other forms of prejudice present a significant problem as they can severely limit our opportunities in our career. Discrimination not only hampers our career growth, but also causes feelings of isolation and frustration. Personally, I have encountered many instances of microaggressions, such as being interrupted or maybe being ignored or having ideas dismissed solely based on my accent, leading to perception of maybe not being good enough. Additionally, many women may face challenges such as being overlooked for promotions, receiving unequal pay for equal work, or not being taken seriously compared to their male counterparts. As a woman in a male-dominated field, I had to overcome such challenges and many more, and I had to find my voice and raise it, advocating for myself and others. When we raise our voice, we raise our value. Other strategies to overcome is self-education, building a support network, even documenting some of those incidents, and seeking legal advice if necessary. Imposter syndrome is another big one, is very much a challenge that many women face. I know that I have faced, particularly in this male-dominated field, where proving myself and fighting for a sense of belonging was a constant battle for a long time. This persistent feeling of not being worthy or good enough despite possessing the necessary qualification and skills leads to self-doubt and a sense of inadequacy. It often makes us believe that our achievements or our hard work goes undeserved, and that will be and eventually maybe will be exposed as frauds or something, which can certainly hinder our willingness to want to take risk and maybe explore new opportunities. To overcome the imposter syndrome, it is crucial to identify our own triggers, reframe our negative thoughts, practice self-compassion, set achievable goals, and prioritize continuous learning. When too many voices fight for attention in my own mind, I make a point to listen to the voice that is calm, the voice that is not fearful, the voice that is solving problems, not causing them, the voice that is loving, not scared. Truth is, what we feel does not always lead us to the right way to act. It's only the right actions that lead us to positive feelings. Before we move on, I would love to hear from you as I'm turning the mic back on you, and feel free to put those things in the chat. I promise you, I'm not going to pick on you. I just want to see some interaction, that you're actually listening and you're taking note of some of the things that are being said. And if you feel like you've been impacted by imposter syndrome, or you know someone that has been, how has that played in your career? I'd love to hear from you. And here's the question, as I mentioned, from your personal experience, in what ways has imposter syndrome impacted your career or someone that you know? Again, if you don't feel like you want to share for yourself, think of a friend that has dealt with it, and just share some of the things that you've seen them go through and how they overcame those things. Our lives are multifaceted, and it is important to acknowledge that we cannot solely attribute experiences to a single category, such as gender, race, or socioeconomic status. Intersectionality is a tool for understanding the invisible power relations that shape inequality, rather than simply a way to categorize individuals. Identity markers like gender and race are interconnected, often resulting in complex layers of oppression. Many women in business face challenges that are influenced by various factors and social dynamics. For example, studies have shown that women of color earn $0.74 and white women earn $0.78 for every dollar earned by white men. Women from marginalized groups may encounter additional obstacles and discrimination in the workplace. Overcoming intersectionality is not an easy task, and it often requires quite of a collective effort. However, there's practical strategies that we can implement, such as increasing awareness, seeking support, educating ourselves and others, speaking up, and as I said before, when we raise our voice, we raise our value, and taking action that can certainly make a difference. Now, raise your hand if you've never experienced burnout. As career-oriented women, entrepreneurs, business owners, we often face immense pressure to excel in our professional lives, while also being present for our families and our loved ones. The constant juggle act can certainly lead to burnout, and I know I have been there several times, and it can affect our productivity and our creativity and overall our mental health. This challenge is compounded by the lack of recognition and understanding from others when it comes to our personal responsibilities. Balancing work and life is no easy feat, as you've probably experienced yourself in your own life, especially when we may need to take time off to care for sick children or maybe elderly relatives, only to be perceived as less committed to our careers or our business. So how can we truly achieve balance here? I honestly believe balance is such an overrated word. And if you ask me, I think the best we can attempt to do, if you're a busy woman like I am, is to integrate. Work-life integration sounds way more achievable to me than work-life balance. In order to do that, we need to get real good at saying no, at prioritizing, at creating and sticking to a schedule, getting and setting boundaries in place, communicating well, practicing self-care, being flexible, and also building that support system that I keep back to because it's so, so important. When I visualize the kind of woman I want to be, I think of a multidimensional woman in business, a bold woman who is not afraid to be herself. She is confident, she believes in herself and her abilities. She is not afraid to speak up in meetings or take on new challenges. She is ambitious, she is driven and willing to work hard to reach her goals. She is not easily discouraged and keeps going even when things go tough. She is intelligent, she is creative, she is resourceful. She knows how to prioritize her time and her responsibilities. She is always looking for ways to grow, improve herself and her business. She is a strong advocate for other women and women's rights, and she is committed to creating a more inclusive and equitable world for all of us. Today's multidimensional woman in business is making a significant impact on the world. She is leaders, she is innovators, and she is entrepreneurs. She is changing the face of business and society. Let me ask you, would you like to be more like that woman too? And if you answer yes, are you ready to learn how to navigate the pressure to have it all while achieving work-life integration without sacrificing your own well-being? Thank you, Pam. You, I hope, represent everyone that is answering this question, because, I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? Now, we often shy away from the parts of our story that trigger feelings of shame, when in reality, the more painful or challenging moments of our journey are often what impacts, shapes, and teaches us the most. It's so crucial to take the time to understand and embrace our own story, the experiences, the beliefs, and values that make us who we are. Because when we fully own our story, not only do we give ourselves permission to be our most authentic selves, but we also inspire others to feel free to fully be themselves. Now, that being said, would it be okay with you if I share part of my story of the type of impact that mental and physical fitness has had on my life? And I hope you said yes, because I can hear you, but I'll just, assume that you did. And with that, here we go. I grew up in Romania, where my accent is coming from. And I come from a large family, the oldest of 10. And while we had a roof over our head and had each other, we faced poverty. And I carry with me into my adulthood this constant fear of not having enough to eat. This fear shaped my upbringing and contributed to some unresolved trauma that affected my mental and emotional and physical well-being long after that period of my life. The byproduct of that was this very shy young adult that struggled tremendously with anxiety and bouts of depression, someone that didn't feel confident at all in herself or her own abilities. Despite those early challenges, my strong work ethic and determination propelled me to overcome those circumstances and want to pursue a better life for myself. So right after college, I left Romania with literally less than $200 in my pockets, and I came to the US to chase better opportunities for myself. However, even in this new land, especially in the first few years, I remember struggling so hard to just fit in, belong, and find confidence in myself. Fast forward many years later, we remember the pandemic, and that brought an additional level of emotional hardship. And I reached a breaking point where I just hit rock bottom. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did before. That was about the time when I decided to do things differently, go see a therapist, and I also discovered natural bodybuilding, and I started working out as an outlet for my unprocessed feelings, suppressed emotions, and a way to work through my unresolved trauma. day in and day out, while also seeing my therapist once a week, I found that when I was in the gym, I could channel my suppressed emotions into my workouts and push myself to new limits. And so through consistent training and discipline, I built a type of mental and physical strength that helped me overcome my own personal challenges and also brought me several first places awards in the bodybuilding world, which I'm, thankful for. However, the self-discipline required for bodybuilding, let me tell you, is beyond anything I've ever experienced in my life, because I was so committed to taking that first place. And that discipline helped me also establish some other healthy habits, such as keeping promises made to myself, sticking to proper nutrition, tracking my macros, which we're going to go into a little later, getting enough sleep, how hard that can be, breathing, and doing stress management exercises during some of the most stressful event days. The mental and physical fitness strategies built during that time have also had a profound impact on every aspect of my life, especially extending beyond the gym into business and into my overall life outside of that. These strategies have boosted my confidence, empowered me to set and achieve new goals, and enabled me to overcome challenges and even some setbacks in my own career. Before we dive into some of those practical strategies, let me share a quick testimony that someone shared with me just recently on LinkedIn. Someone that never actually comments on my post ever. However, they took the courage to actually send me this message. I want to share something very personal with you. For the past 25 years, my sole focus has been on my kids and my family, putting myself and my needs last. I would go to the gym when I could, but always on everybody else's schedule. However, in the last 7 months, I made a decision to prioritize myself and make time for my own well-being, regardless of what was happening around me, my family, or my business. I made a choice to put my heart and my mental health above everything else without neglecting my other responsibilities. I started saying no more often, and I stopped spreading myself too thin unless I first took time for myself. Your journey has inspired me to keep pushing forward despite what others might have thought. This is my time, and I've already dropped from a size 9 to a size 5, losing 50 pounds along the way. I still have about 20 more pounds to go to reach my pre-baby goals, but it's not just about the numbers on the scale for me. I want to look in the mirror and see the person I always knew was there, but hid away for way too long. And so I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to you for touching my life and inspiring women to pursue their goals. Thank you for encouraging us to prioritize ourselves, our mental and physical health, and reminding us that it's okay to do it for ourselves. Your encouragement has been a guiding light, especially during one of the darkest times, like the loss of my stillborn baby girl. Focusing on my health has kept me going, and I owe that to you. This message is long overdue, but I genuinely needed to express my heartfelt thanks. May you never tire of sharing your story and encouraging women to prioritize their mental and physical well-being. When I first read this message, I promise you, I was just like tearing. Like I just couldn't stop crying, because here was this woman that I barely knew, and somehow she was so touched and encouraged by some of the things that I've shared on my LinkedIn profile, on my Facebook page. And I think it touched me more than probably touched her, but it really emphasizes how much we get to inspire others when we're open and vulnerable with sharing our own stories. This is why, honestly, I am so incredibly passionate about physical and mental fitness. It has transformed me mentally. It has transformed me physically, aiding in the healing of my own trauma and enhancing my well-being, all the while increasing my productivity at work. As someone who is constantly striving to grow and reach my full potential, I assure you that I put everything I preach to the test in my own life before I get to share with others. Mental and physical health are so intertwined, and it is the combination of both that allows us to perform at our best. The strategies that I'm about to share with you have the power to help you unlock your potential and make a positive impact in your career and your life if you're willing to apply them. And so through my own journey, I've learned that mental toughness is crucial for success, not just in bodybuilding, running a half marathon, which I just did for the first time last weekend. And let me tell you, that was a true exercise in mental endurance. Mental toughness is especially essential in life and in our business. And one simple way to help our brain's ability to enlarge its capacity in order to enhance productivity and ultimately our success is by starting to incorporate constant daily learning into our routine, simply for the sake of improving ourselves one step at a time without stressing too much about the final outcome. This strategy is actually, it's an actual Japanese concept of Kaizen, which in due time allows us to have this open mind ready to take in anything that can make us stronger, more productive, and a better overall person. I love to listen to Blinkist on my daily commute when I go to the gym, which is basically the audio version of Cliff Notes for a lot of books out there. And if you haven't tried it, you should definitely give it a try. Another way to develop mental toughness is by training ourselves in the 7 C's: competitiveness, courage, confidence, control, composure, consistency, and commitment. Now, healthy competitiveness means being driven to battle, not against other people, but against yourself, first and foremost. Push the limit in order to reach new heights and achieve new goals. Courage means taking on challenges with determination, bravery, and facing them head on without being afraid and taking action to overcome any of those challenges. Confidence means believing in ourselves and visualizing our success. When I was running this half marathon that, again, I just signed up 2 weeks prior, and I had no idea what I'm doing, but I just wanted to test myself. As I'm running the marathon and every step, becomes a really hard step, I'm visualizing myself finish the race, crossing the finish line. And that's what actually kept me going. We built so much confidence by staying consistent and by hitting our goals, recognizing that our accomplishments, and also celebrate some of those successes in bite-sized increments. Control and composure means keeping emotions in check and staying focused under pressure. We develop these skills by practicing mindfulness and deep breathing exercises, segmentation, and visualization, which I'm going to go more into later, especially when it comes to box breathing and segmentation. Consistency means maintaining peak performance regardless of how we feel or the type of obstacles we face. The last 3 miles of this half marathon is what I call a swear word step. I'm not going to say the swear word, but just imagine that was every step of that 3 mile. And it was a very long 3 mile where every step was just hard, but I stayed consistent. I never stopped and I never give up because I knew that I can do hard things because I've already tested myself before in other things. When we establish this type of consistency by the type of routines that we create for ourselves and habits, we promote our mental and physical health. Commitment means working hard and achieving ultimate goals, no matter how long it takes. We develop commitment by setting such goals and by developing a plan to also reach them. Training in these areas on a daily basis can certainly push us to new heights to achieve our goals, not just physically, but also professionally. A lot of the lessons that I learned in the gym as I'm doing those reps, as I'm pushing through the motions, I apply those lessons to my business on a daily. Developing mental toughness takes time and it takes effort, but it's so essential to take those baby steps towards it in order to achieve the type of success that we're looking for. Before we move on, let's check in one more time. I'm curious if you have any personal strategy for success in prioritizing mental and physical fitness in your daily routine. What is that strategy? So if you want to drop in the chat, if you want to share for yourself or maybe a good friend, I would really appreciate it. I will share some of my own. I know one of the most important things that I like to ask myself every morning as I'm drinking my cup of coffee with collagen, peptides, protein in it, because I've got to, keep up with my macros, is this one question: what does my body, my mind, and my soul need today? And it works miracles, especially when you pause enough to ask yourself this question, especially during a time when you might feel overwhelmed, under pressure, under a lot of deadlines, anxiety, and stress. What does my body need right now? And listen to your body, listen to what it tells you. The simple answer to that question is, in order to prioritize mental and physical health, we must first learn how to set boundaries, practice self-care, develop healthy habits, manage stress by practicing mindfulness, prioritizing our mental health, and also seeking the necessary support. So let's dive into each one of those 6 strategies next. Setting boundaries means learning to say no to any tasks and responsibilities that don't align with our priorities, which in turn can help us avoid burnout, but also create the bandwidth, the space that we need to build some of those habits into our routine. And in order to do that, we certainly have to look at what is the ROI that I'm getting from doing this one thing, and put our own productivity first and overall happiness and success first. Prioritizing our self-care, it's so hard for us women because it really entails nurturing both our mind and our body through essential, I'm going to say that, essential practices such as getting enough sleep and eating some well-rounded, wholesome nutrition meals, and getting that regular activity, fitting it into this super crazy busy schedule. It requires carving out dedicated schedule time for ourselves and our goals. Personally, I prioritize my well-being by diligently blocking my schedule for my workouts every single day on my calendar. That's a non-negotiable for me. Yes, I have lots of meetings. Yes, I have Zoom after Zoom after Zoom meeting, or in person, and I have events that I run, and I produce podcasts, 3 different podcasts. I do a lot of things. But when it comes to my wellness, when it comes to my workouts, when it comes to my mental fitness, I block that time out. Nothing worth having comes easy and without sacrifice. And that means having to carve out time for whatever it is that keeps you healthy. And for me, that's weightlifting and cardio. Developing healthy habits means establishing the type of routines that promote mental and physical health that work for each one of us individually. Again, what works for me might not work for you, but it does mean taking care of our minds by engaging in activities that promote relaxation and stress relief, such as maybe meditation, yoga, journaling, spending time outside, spending time in the nature, or incorporating stress relief practices such as writing and journaling, which is something that I love to do, especially in the morning. They say it takes about 2 weeks to create a new habit. In the morning, before my family wakes up, like I said, I like to journal for a little bit, but then every other day I go for a run. But in order to remember to do that, I literally remind myself by setting my running shoes next to the coffee machine so I can't miss it. And I don't have an excuse when I do that. To effectively manage stress, which can so adversely affect both our mental and physical well-being, we can employ a relaxation techniques such as deep breathing, mindfulness, seeking support from trusted friends or even professionals. Personally, when I face a lot of tight deadlines and work-related performance anxiety threatens to just take over, I find relief in practicing box breathing and segmentation. Box breathing involves inhaling, holding, exhaling, and then holding again, each breath in a pattern or 4 counts. And it's really known for its calming effects on your nervous system. This is a technique that's actually used by Navy SEALs and firefighters. And it's something that has helped me through some really stressful situations. Segmentation, on the other hand, entails breaking tasks into smaller, more manageable parts. During heavy workouts and maybe some of my longer runs, I apply segmentation by focusing on smaller increments of repetitions or maybe on 1 mile at a time. All of those techniques are simply and effective ways to train your mind to manage stress, overwhelm, anxiety, and they can be used in a variety of settings, including work and maybe at home when, the kids all want something at the same time, in the gym, or even in social situations, which help us build resilience, grit, and discipline. Not too long ago, people with mental illness in our country were literally locked up. As Mental Health Awareness Month, May serves as an important reminder to address behavioral health issues and combat the associated stigma that comes with that. But there's still so much work to be done to break the invisible chains of ignorance, fear, neglect that surround many mental health issues. Therefore, it's very crucial for each one of us to acknowledge the significance of mental health and seek support when needed, whether through therapy, maybe support groups, or mindfulness practices. So this month, I encourage you to examine how various factors such as social determinants of your health may impact your mental well-being. While some aspects of our environment may not be something that we can control, there are steps we can take towards positively impacting our mental health, such as having a secure, stable house, maintaining a peaceful and organized home environment, fostering community within our neighborhoods, connecting with nature. If despite some of these efforts you find yourself still struggling, it is essential to recognize the signs of a mental health condition and seek the type of support that you need, the type of support that addresses any underlying trauma by consulting with a licensed therapist. Don't hesitate to utilize some of the free resources that are also available online, like private screenings. There's available at mhasscreening.org, just to gain a bit of clarity on your situation and determine the appropriate next steps. Another effective strategy is seeking role models and mentors and cultivating a support system by connecting with other women, particularly in your field, women that get you. Community is forged by doing hard things together, and it's super powerful to see when people come together and grow and evolve through this process. I have a community of women behind the scenes in event technology and event productions, which all help me reach my potential, achieve my goals, and navigate the challenges very specific to my own industry, while also we create this sense of community. I've also personally experienced significant progress, as I mentioned earlier, by dedicating time to therapy sessions, allowing me to utilize then my workout hours for a deeper introspection based on many of the discussions that I was having with my therapist. If therapy isn't currently feasible due to maybe financial or insurance limitations, I would recommend something that probably it's so out there, but it's actually this documentary that I watch on Netflix. Is called Stats, S-T-U-T-S. And I have a QR code for you on the last page of this presentation. And it's such a thought-provoking series that features actor Jonah Hill engaging in very candid conversations with his therapist, Phil Stutz, providing such valuable insights and takeaways, which I found quite helpful myself. Being able to move your body is a gift, one that shouldn't be taken for granted. The older we get, the more we need to prioritize our mobility and our physical fitness. Sadly, this is the opposite what most people do. Ultimately, we must make the type of choices that provide us with the best ROI, and nothing has a higher ROI long-term than prioritizing health, getting healthy and in shape. We must believe in ourselves and our abilities to achieve this if we put in the time. Now, to recap really quick, research has also shown that prioritizing mental and physical health can have numerous benefits. And although it's not a substitute for maybe medication and therapy for anyone that needs it, because every body and mind is different. Exercise not only builds your body, but it strengthens your mind. It releases endorphins, it regulates our mood, it gets us into a healthy sleep schedule, it reduces fatigue and stress, as well as the risk of chronic diseases such as cancer, and throw in any other heart condition that you can think of. It also increases our lifespan, our productivity, energy levels is huge for me, because when I work long hours on events, I need to have such a high stamina that I can maintain for 18 hours at a time, and sometimes day after day after day. It also builds our resilience, improves our mood and our focus. And like I mentioned, it really provides that overall higher quality of life. While all of those benefits are awesome, how we get active also matters. What makes me feel good might not work for you. That's why it's so important to find activities that suit your condition and make you feel good. Don't focus on how you want to look. Focus on how you want to feel. A body that feels vibrant, strong, energetic would always look good. It's crucial to find an exercise routine that suits your preference and supports your mental well-being. And a little later, I will actually share an example of an exercise routine you can start implementing right away. As someone that has always been into fitness and has always wanted to be at my healthiest, strongest, leanest, and happiest in my life, I am such a firm believer in the importance of physical fitness. However, getting in shape is not a one-time event. It is a habit. Now, I have to take a bit of a time right now to address the elephant in the room. There's this major fear that many women have when it comes to lifting weights. Just like many of you in the beginning, I had this fear of becoming bulky if I lifted weights. And when I finally opened my mind towards it and I started intentionally spending the last few years dedicated several hours a day lifting weights consistently 6 to 7 days a week for the last 3 years that I remember, just to build muscle mass and get as strong as I can possibly get for my frame, let me tell you something. You have no idea how hard it is to build muscle. If you start touching weights and you instantly just start bulking up, then maybe you're truly one of the gifted ones and you should consider becoming a professional athlete. To build muscle takes so much time, so much dedication, so much consistency. You have to dial in scientifically your workout routines, your nutrition, your sleep, your rest, your recovery days. Trust me. Or if you don't, just do your own research. You're not going to suddenly put on 30 pounds of lean muscle mass just because you lifted a barbell. This Took me such a long time to understand. And now that I fell in love with the process and the journey, I hope that you will too. If not now, maybe someday in the future, because lifting weights as a woman makes you feel so empowered, so confident, and so capable to do any other hard thing that life might throw at you. It really helps your self-esteem and makes you feel absolutely amazing. And there's something to be said about being just a strong female. Through engaging in this type of physical activities, women of all ages and lifestyle can definitely experience all those benefits and more. Personally, I have faced anxiety and depression, as I mentioned earlier, and I can testify to the fact that weightlifting, physical activity has been such a transformative power in my life in managing these conditions and improving my mental health. Working out regularly not only reduces the stress and anxiety and depression that many of us deal with on a daily, but also fosters this sense of community. I call my gym friends family, and I have gained such a support network, which greatly can contribute to everyone's mental and emotional well-being. When it comes to choosing a workout routine, it is important, however, to consider your personal and preferences and your goals. And as I mentioned earlier, it's important to find an activity that doesn't worsen your condition, especially if you have a condition, and makes you feel good instead. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to physical fitness, as it is a highly individualized journey. If you are just starting out, I would recommend that you engage in some type of physical activity at least 3 times a week, but also select an activity or a movement based on how you want to feel afterwards. For instance, if you need an energy boost for a busy day, opt for a jog or a walk to get your blood pumping. On days when you seek centering and grounding, consider practicing yoga. This recommendation is particularly applicable for beginners, as goals and routines may evolve over time. For more specific goals, such as building strength or following a strict workout routine with a very specific goal in mind, it might be necessary to consult with a fitness coach to develop a tailored plan just for you. And if you need recommendations, I can certainly give you some. Ultimately, you have to listen to your body and choose the activity that aligns with your desired outcome and desired energy level. Your healthy body is the result of small daily wins. If you can get into a routine and build the habit that will sustain you, and you get to do something physical daily, not because you want to lose fat or whatever, but because your mental health depends on it, I promise you that you will see results in no time. This year is what I call a manageable workout routine to help overcome anxiety and depression. And you might want to screenshot this slide. It is important to listen to your body and make modifications as necessary. This workout routine can be performed 2 to 3 times per week with rest in between if you're just starting out. And additionally, if you can incorporate mindfulness exercises such as deep breathing, meditation, just to enhance the mental health benefits of this workout routine would be even better. While you're screenshotting this, I've got a disclaimer to make out loud. Before starting any new workout routine, it is important to consult with a qualified health professional or a certified fitness instructor. The workout routine provided here is intended as a general guidance and might not be suitable for everyone. Each individual has unique physical conditions, fitness levels, and medical considerations that should be taken into account. It is essential to listen to your body, pace yourself, and make modifications as needed to ensure safe and effective workouts. And that, my friends, is the screenshot of that disclaimer if you feel compelled to take another look. And now let's move on into tracking. Now, remember that consistency is key in reaping the mental health benefits of any workout routine. Starting with a manageable routine and gradually increasing the intensity and duration can help build confidence, improve overall strength and well-being. If you have bigger goals, start incorporating a simple Google spreadsheet. This is a Google spreadsheet like that I create for myself to track all of my workouts over time, so I can see my progress and I can incorporate progressive overload into my routine. And while I'm not a fitness coach and I don't intend to become one anytime soon, I have built this type of programming for a lot of my friends because I have gained the type of confidence and knowledge that has helped me through my bodybuilding competitions, in just enough to be dangerous and enough to get people started on maybe a weight week progressive overload plan, just to have a selection of workouts that rotate specific muscle groups and exercises. And if you're interested in something of that nature, do connect with me afterwards and we can talk about this sample. And when it comes to macros, and I have to start this one particular topic by professing the obvious, every single person is different, and therefore nutrition needs vary from person to person, and there is no size-fits-all approach, just as with physical fitness. The information provided here is intended as general guidance and should not replace professional personalized advice that you could get from a registered nutritional healthcare professional. But when it comes to weight loss or achieving specific goals, it is crucial to consider factors such as individual body composition, metabolism, and your overall health. There are three main types of nutrients that our body needs to function properly: protein, carbohydrates, and fat, which provide our body with energy and serve specific functions, which are all important to consider when planning a balanced diet or when working towards a specific fitness goals. Depending on your fitness goals, like I mentioned, such as maybe weight loss or maybe maintenance or muscle gain, you may need to adjust your macros to ensure that you are consuming the appropriate amount of each nutrient. Tracking your macros can be a helpful tool to ensure that you are staying on track, you are consuming nutrients that align with your unique needs and goals. Additionally, meal planning and preparation can be so beneficial for just staying consistent with your nutrition plan and also saving yourself some time. And as a competitor, it is the holy grail of just staying on track. But then as a working mom, it's really saves so much time to know that I don't have to think about what am I going to cook next every moment of the day. Remember to prioritize your overall well-being and listen to your body's signals to ensure a healthy and sustainable approach to nutrition. And if you didn't know, nutrition is science, and so there are a lot of formulas for everything. To calculate macros based on age, height, and weight, you will need to determine what is your specific daily energy expenditure. That is the TDE number. And that is the number of calories your body burns in a day. Once you have your TDE number, you can then calculate your macros based on your fitness goals. As I mentioned, goals that could be weight loss, maintenance, or muscle gain. And most people's nutritional needs, they're kind of built on this 30, 35, 35 macros plan, which means you get 30% protein, 35% fat, and 35% carbs. Mine is completely different. It's changing based on which phase of my training I'm in, if it's bulking or cutting. And to calculate your TDE, I would encourage you to scan the QR code to use the online free TDE calculator, or just use the formula listed on this slide that will give you the same results. And this formula, just to be specific, it is for women particularly. Also, if you like a PDF, download with an example of a nutrition plan that has macros already calculated and provide a balance of protein, fats, and carbohydrates with a focus on whole foods and nutrient-dense options. Please get back to me, connect with me, leave your email in the chat, and I will send it to you afterwards. If keeping logs in a spreadsheet, as I showed you earlier, is too much for you because it sounds like a lot of work and you're more of an app person, I would recommend that you choose one of those two apps which are excellent at tracking everything we just talked about. One is more geared towards workouts, JFit, and one is more geared towards tracking your nutrition with some workouts incorporated, and that is MyFitnessPal. These apps have free and pro subscription options. I've used both as free options, and now I'm using them as the pro options only because I need more analytics for my competitions. All right, in conclusion, committing to consistency creates results. One of my greatest strengths is being consistent. When consistency compounds day in and day out, I promise you, you end up achieving the end results you set for yourself. And as a result of that, you start becoming confident and proud of your accomplishments. I have applied the consistently good over occasionally great to every part of my life, and I have seen great success with that. Mental and physical fitness are crucial components of success for anyone, but especially for us women, because we handle a lot. And historically, we also live longer than men, which means we've got to take into the account the quality of life at which we want to live and do everything we can to raise it if we are to outlive our men. And we raise it by prioritizing our mental and physical fitness and implementing the strategies that were mentioned today in order to also build resilience, overcome challenges, enlarge our capacity and our productivity, and achieve our full potential, both in business and in life. My encouragement to you is that we work together and we keep ourselves accountable as we prioritize our mental and physical fitness, and health and success will surely follow. Please connect with me via the LinkedIn QR code attached on this slide, or via my website, where you can find actually more blogs on this particular topic. Also, I speak a lot on this topic at industry events and conferences. And if you'd like me to come and speak at your next event or team building, I love to. All links for all of those talks are on my website. Thank you for listening. And on behalf of my agency that supports this type of talks, also check out the latest season of Events Demystified podcast. As I mentioned in the beginning, it is focused on mental and physical fitness, now playing on all listening platforms and on YouTube. I'm also super grateful and thankful for the community of women that are part of my support system that encourages me to keep on going. And lastly, do scan that QR code for all the links and resources that I mentioned earlier. And with that, we are done. Thank you so much for hanging around. And if you have any questions, this would be the good time to drop them in the chat. If not, connect with me. And if you just want to send me a message on LinkedIn or via email, I will get back to you. I am going to travel to Europe for another conference that I'm speaking on this topic at just next week. So I might be a little slow on getting back for the next 2 weeks, but come June, I will be on top of it. And with that, we will end today's session. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.